Hello, my name is Oleg Bobrov and I will talk to you about my Battle Royale map. At first, let's talk about units of measurement. I start working on this map by defining the units of measurement. Based on the character height of 175 centimeters, I constructed some buildings and created the landscape. I defined the height of all covers as 100 centimeters. So any player can cover behind them. But this player can also be damaged, so his head is vulnerable. Let's talk about size of the map. The final size of the map is 200 meters by 100 meters. So there 200 meters and there 100 meters. I count only this distance because these cliffs and forest isn't passable by players. I intentionally made the size of map smaller as the game is supposed to be for mobile devices. Players should have a short session and concentrated gameplay. Also, a smaller scale is needed because of the phone's small screen. Firefights and various actions like finding enemies can be carried out more easily and effectively. And now let's talk about navigation. I divided the map into two visually different parts. I did this to make it easier to navigate, so a player will better understand where he is. So this part is pine forest and this part are hardwood forest. Also this part is more bright and this part is more subdued. There are telecommunication tower in the center of the level. It's visible from any place of the level. So we can see this tower and its antenna from here and from here and of course from here, from here, from here, and so on. So let's talk about spawn points. There's spawn point. It's like gamepad. The number of spawn points is more than 20. So some spawn points will not be used in every battle, and this will have a positive effect on the replayability. Spawn points also have multiple exit roads, so from this spawn point we can go to there, to this building, and we can go to there, to this building. And from this spawn point we go up, like this man on the ladder. We can also go to this building or go to the center of the map. And for this spawn point it's also available to go up on the ladder. We can go left to this building or go right to this building too. So also all spawn locations is invisible from other spawn locations. This gives player a chance to act by stealth from the start. So there are a few examples of it. Okay, now let's talk about points of interest. There are points of interest on the map. It's a shelter and firing point. It contains loot. These spots attract players and combat mostly take place around these locations. So for example, this is oil refinery. This is telecommunication tower. That, as I said before, is visible from any other point of the map. And this is house on a lake. That's also main point of interest for this part of location. So let's talk about smaller points of interest. So there can be these houses, or for example this house. It also contains loot and can be firing point. And there are always several approaches to each point of interest to avoid obvious ambushes. So for example, there are two approaches from both sides of building, and for oil refinery, player can go up with ladder there and there. Player can choose this passage or these passages to go to this refinery. And now let's talk about other memorable points of interest. So there is also shooting range and labyrinths. And I think it's all. So now we can start to talk about covers. The logic of cover placement is next. So it's make open places safer, reduce the impact for snipers. So players can cover here. From enemies. Also it's important for there. So if enemies in the house or snipers, you can sit in these covers and have more chances against them, that there'll be open place. And also covers help attackers from the outside against defenders in buildings. So there we can go to ambush this building here in the cover, and we not on the straight line of sight. And for attack to this building, there's also cover, which can help us against enemies inside this building. And now let's talk about use of various weapons. As I have been working on the map, I thought about using different kinds of weapons on it. To put it simply, I identified three types of weapons: short range, medium range, and long range. Short range for SMG, medium range for automatic rifle, and long range for sniper rifles. So, for example, let's choose that. So there are labyrinth. It's good for use with shotgun. So it's very close range with price in the center of the labyrinth. But it can be counterattacked by any enemy on this hill or any enemy on this telecommunication tower top. So they are very visible and vulnerable who's inside. Also, very good use of shotguns is here. So here is a forest and dense buildings and small range between them. So it's also good for shotguns. And for sniper rifles, for example, this is very good vantage point, but it have some cons. So you can be shooted from this, under this rock, and under this side of this rock. It's very open from back. And also there are two approaches: one ladder outside the house and one ladder inside the house. And also good point for sniper rifles is here, but it's vulnerable from all sides. And good point for sniper is here in this building, but this is center point of interest, so anyone can go to your spot from here or from here with this ladder. And now let's talk about medium range weapons like assault rifles. For them, good to use there on the open places, there also in this passage. And for final, let's talk about map balance. I based my work on the following 2 points to achieve balance. Usefulness, is this area useful? Why would a player go here or stay here? Is this place suitable for his weapon? Cost, is this area easy to reach or stay in? Do players need much time to do so? If the player is here, does that leave him vulnerable? And for examples, we can choose, I think, this building. So their position with a good view. It's also blocked from most sides and the shooter can feel safe, but it's in the corner of the map. And if the area is reduced, the player will probably have to leave it and look for a new position. So if map start to reduce to the center, for example, you must leave this location. As I said before, this position also can be example of map balance. And for example, there can be good loot in the center, but you can get attacked from most sides. So it from there and from there and from there and also from there. So it's 4 ways to ambush you. And in final, let's talk about tactical capabilities. So as say before, there are many entrances, so each building on the map has multiple entries to complicate ambushes. It's many roads to each point of interest, so it can be reached at least by 2 roads, with a few exemptions. Roads on level is looped, so there is no dead ends, no need to backtracking if you don't find enemy. So it's all circled, as you can see. And for end, let's talk about stealth approach. So there are bushes that player can be hide and can ambush each other. So the convenience of making an ambush while being located in bushes is offset by the obviousness of their use and the openness of their position. Nothing prevents a player from checking the bush for an enemy. If attacked, the attacker from the bush is open from all sides. So we can look for that. It's vulnerable from left and for right. Also, there are places on the map with many bushes, and in case of attack, it's difficult to understand where exactly you are attacked from. Experienced player will avoid these roads if he suspects a possible ambush. So for example, he can go to the oil refinery not from left, but from right, with less bushes on his way. And let's talk about use of environment. There are traps on the level, so these traps allow players to block passageways, forcing other players to find other roads. So player can destroy this with explosion and this passageway is blocked. So in this situation, player must need this way or this way, and it's dangerous because of snipers can be shooted. And from this point also. Also, there is trap there. It also can block this passage. And of course, if used successfully, they can instantly kill an opponent. if opponent is under them. And player might use this or this road. That can be good for shotgunners, for example. And last trap is this. So any players who want to become King of Hill will have troubles here. So if this planks destroyed, barrels rolling down. And for final, let's talk about squad goals. So the following points support the game in squads. It's several roads to same destination. A squad can always attack from several sides, taking the enemy in close. And of each point of defense, there are also several directions, doors, windows that must be covered simultaneously to avoid being hit by unexpected attack. So, I think it's all. Thanks for watching and bye.